guys, it's M4J here, and welcome back to New Gardcity here on City Skylines. Say goodbye to the Gardcity Container Terminal / Gateway Terminal / whatever the name of this actually was. It was Gardcity Gateway Terminal, I believe it was. But say goodbye to it in its current guise, because it is about to change. Basically, the traffic was becoming a nightmare. The fires in all the buildings were becoming a nightmare. Everything was becoming a nightmare, so I decided it was time for a complete rebuild and a complete reboot, using a new system to get vehicles in and out of the individual cargo hubs, as well as a new system for getting trains in and out of the overall complex, and also making it a little bit bigger as well, a little less congested, a little less constricted. All the entrances and exits are still staying in situ. They're not changing at all, but pretty much everything else around it is going to look a little bit different by the time this project is complete. And this is a big project. Already I've recorded I think 4 hours worth of footage of me rebuilding this, and I'm probably not even like a third of the way through yet. So there's going to be a lot of stuff happening between now and the end of this build, and I'm really looking forward to it. And as you can see, it's a complete rewipe, so even the airport here, which is going to be the next big rebuild that I'm going to be doing, even that is getting replaced. You know, all the approaches to the airport from the cargo hub, they're all going. Everything is gone. We're going with a new strategy for placing down the hubs. We're kind of going with a pairs system, which you'll see what I mean in a second. And I'm really liking the new system I've got for getting cars in and out, or trucks I should say in this case, getting them in and out of the actual terminal. I will admit, it is inspired by something I saw on Reddit quite recently. I will see if I saved the post. I hope I did, because it was a really good suggestion. Not even a suggestion, sorry. It was a really good build that I saw someone else do. And I thought, you know what? I could steal that and use that for the Gardcity Gateway Terminal. It doesn't look like I saved it, unfortunately. However, I might still be able to find it. Basically, it was a cargo container terminal that had the rail tracks sort of dipped down below ground, which is something I wanted to do anyway. That is also something that they have in Los Angeles. So playing GTA 5, for example, you kind of see a lot of how that works there with the underground railway. And kind of use that as a little bit of inspiration, and also the idea of just keeping everything grade separated, really, and keeping trains away from cars, away from trains away from road traffic, away from everything else, pretty much. And also having like a one-way system, keeping in away from out, although there is a way for out to become in again, just in case there are vehicles moving between terminals rather than between a terminal and the city. I'm kind of doing a bad job of explaining this because I'm mainly scrolling through Reddit trying to find the post. I might not be able to find it now, but I will try and find it. If people want me to post it on the Discord, I will do that. If not, then don't worry about it. But basically, it was a really good build. If you go on the City Skylines Reddit, you'll probably find it anyway. Oh, actually, I posted a comment on it. That might help me find it. Profile, comments. There we go. Right. So it was a post 7 days ago at the time of recording, which is 7 days ago at the time of uploading, hopefully. And it was by a user called Urames. U-R-A-M-E-S. The post was titled Sunset Harbour. And it was a really awesome, like, it had grade separated roads and it had an underground railway and stuff like that. And it looked really, really cool. And I just thought, why not use something a little bit like that? Not nick all of it. And you'll notice right now that I'm just building the empty husk of what this is meant to look like. I will eventually go through and add detail and stuff, but right now I'm just more interested in getting it functional and working than anything else. I'll also say that I was on a video call to someone at the time I was building this, so if there's long pauses, it's because I'm chatting with them. I tried to speed up the footage as much as possible so that that's not an issue, but you know, sometimes it did happen. So again, I apologise in advance for that. Also, Move It is my friend. I love the fact I can place down these cargo hubs and then just move them into position. That's really, really awesome. And a bit like the build I did last time out, and the build I did before that as well, it's kind of reignited my interest in this game a little bit more. And things like the intersection marking tool is getting a huge update soon, which will allow you to copy and paste junctions. Boy, I wish that happened before I redid the magic roundabout, because that would have been Very beneficial, but sod's law. That's just my luck, that kind of thing. But it's all okay, because I get to use it here instead in the harbour. And yes, so you'll notice that there are 2 levels of harbour. We've got deep level and we've got shallow level. That will be reflected in the type of ships that each hub uses as well. Each one, it's kind of going to use the same design in and around the actual hubs themselves. But in terms of the approach roads and things, they are all unique and they are all different. And I kind of wanted to have that be a thing. Mainly so that each one looks like it was built at a later date to the others. Because imagine you have this big cargo harbour, and then over the years you expand it. That's kind of what this is meant to represent. So you'll have one set of hubs built first. It'll probably be the leftmost 2 in the direction we're facing now. And then over the years, more and more and more have been added. So the road layouts are all a little bit different, where they've tried to squeeze in entrances and exits in amongst all the other buildings and everything that have sprung up. It's kind of being built in the wrong order in that sense. You'd imagine that like warehouses and things would get built, and then the rest of the stuff would get built. But anyway, that's by the by. You'll also have to apologise. I also have to apologise if I'm sniffing a lot and if I sound a bit bunged up. It's just hay fever. I'm recording this early morning. Although it's middle of October, there still seems to be something in the air that's making me react to it, which is not very nice. But there we go. And I think also because it's early morning and I'm always bunged up in the morning, even when I don't have a cold or anything like that. So nothing to worry about. I'm absolutely fine. Just a little bit sniffly and a little bit bunged up, but it's all good. Can't complain forever. Right. So, yes. Each one of these, as I said, is built in pairs. Each one is connected up. Each one has an entrance road and an exit road. And the exit road runs along the entirety of the terminal. And all the exit roads join together into a single exit road, and then that eventually feeds out into the main road, which ideally points you out towards the city, but there is a turn back option if you do have traffic that needs to go to another cargo terminal. Big sniff. Oh, I hate feeling ill. Hate it. But yeah, that's the plan, is to have this like huge one-way system going on. I'm also going to try and avoid as much as possible having industry near these roads. So there will be an industrial area within the terminal to represent factories and warehouses and things like that, but not on the same roads as the cargo terminals are connected to. They will be separate. And also I'm going to put a lot more storage in. So things like container terminals, the warehouses that I used in the past, they will go on the same roads, or some of them will go on the same roads as the container terminal, but kind of separate still, if that makes sense. I haven't built them yet, so I haven't fully decided how that's going to work. But the idea is kind of to split them up a little bit more and make them not get in each other's way, not tread on each other's toes. That's the overall plan. You can also see I'm now using my good friend the node controller to make these junctions here look a little bit nicer. This is basically to speed up traffic flows, to get trucks moving in and out. I'm also using priority systems, so trucks coming out of a terminal have to give way to trucks that are already on the road, and that's the same for all of the exit roads as well. Existing traffic takes priority over new traffic, and you'll see me build some flyovers. I think I do that in the next episode actually. You'll see me build some flyovers. There's going to be a main road linking the 2 main entrances and exits of the cargo terminal together. There is still the entrance and exit that links up with the mining area. The mining area itself is also going to get a rebuild, because I think I've got some assets now that will make it look a bit more like a coal mine than just this big quarry type thing, which I'm not a huge fan of, that big quarry type thing. I also might actually make it look like a big hole that's been dug in the ground rather than what it looks like currently, which is a bit of a mess. But yeah, that entrance and exit, it is going to connect to that main road still, but it's going to be connected slightly differently to how it currently is. And I'm using a lot of overpasses and or flyovers, I should say, and roundabouts, rather than the current system of like T-junctions and hope the traffic doesn't build up too much. So there's some method in amongst the madness, but I wouldn't say it's that great still. But I mean, the best way to do it is to test it. And at the end of the next episode, in fact, at the end of episode 29, I do actually have all the roads connected to a point where traffic is starting to flow. But at the same time, I do want to kind of test it in stages if I can, so I might like block off certain exits and entrances just to test each individual bit, because I really want this to be the final version of the terminal, and I want this one to be the one that works, but we will see. I'm also not a huge fan of, I like the touch this mod, but I'm not a huge fan of the fact that you can delete the road and rebuild it and it will snap back to that asset. I kind of want it to be, because right now I'm having to build these roads a long way away from the terminal and then move it into position, which can be a bit of a pain. But I mean, again, there are worse things in the world. I'm not complaining too much, but it's just an inconvenience more than anything. But it's not too difficult to kind of move all this stuff into position. And as you can see there, just fits in place and done. I tried to use copy and paste. Maybe I didn't use it correctly, because whenever I copied and pasted over the hubs, they came with their vanilla roads again, so I had to sort of remove those and re-add them. So in the end, that was another reason why each one ends up looking a little bit different. It's because I custom built each one according to the topography and you know, where the road junctions were and things like that. Now I keep talking about having the entrance roads and the exit roads being separate, and you will see in a second what I actually did in order to do that. And again, I'm a huge fan of it. I think it works really, really well. And I love the fact that because it's all grade separated as well, you get these really nice like sight lines through the whole site. That was a pun that I wasn't intending on making. You get some really nice sight lines through the whole terminal though, and you have these elevated roads that carry the traffic out. And I'm looking forward to seeing those fully populated with trucks. I think that'll be very, very pretty to look at it. Which is a bit weird to say in a heavily industrialized area, because I imagine the ground pollution around here is going to be intense, but it will still be awesome to actually be able to see all of this in one go, functional. And with the rail traffic as well, I've gone with a different strategy for the rail as well. I'd like to have built sort of 3 lines and have them all separate off that, and I might still end up doing that, to be fair, but right now I think there's 6 lines in total that then go down to 3. But I think I might make it just be 3 main lines running through the middle for space reasons more than anything, because right now I don't have a huge amount of space. I had some real trouble building the lines, and you'll see that in the time-lapse over the next couple of weeks. It was really, really tricky to actually find a way to make it work. I was having trouble building the tracks underground for some reason, and I have no idea why. This is me using copy and paste and then realizing that it didn't quite work how I intended it to, mainly because of the major roads here, so I had to kind of delete those, and then I think I copied and pasted. In fact, what did I do? Oh, I think I just built hubs again, deleted the main roads, and then copied and pasted that, or moved it into the right spot. I think I ended up just using move it, thinking about it. In fact, we'll see in a second what I end up doing. And we got different size hubs. So we've got the double-sized hub, and then we've got the single-sized hub, which you see here, and a few others kind of along the way. I'm also going to use rail terminals here as well, which I'll somehow connect up. So I might end up with 4 lines running underground for that side of things. And the idea is just to make this really busy and have lots of different connections and things like that. Try and make as many of these terminals function as possible. Another thing I should have mentioned, over the next week or so, in fact even longer, maybe even a month or so, you might hear some drilling and stuff in the background of some of my videos. We've got some neighbours doing a big building project right now, so just wanted to let you guys know that ahead of time. You'll also notice that the frame rate is a lot better in this video. I can't speak for all series yet, because I'm still testing out different settings, but I think I have discovered a solution to the frame drop issue that I've been having. And it was a really simple solution. I will be writing a blog post on it in the future to actually talk about how I did it. Mainly because I'm a sucker for trying to drive as much traffic to my website as possible. So yeah, I'll be writing a blog post on that, and you guys will be able to head over to m4jmedia.com and read about how I did it. And I'm sure you will you'll sort of do a face palm as much as I did when I realised that it was a really simple solution and I should have tried it all along. But yeah, sometimes you just got to try out different things, and you might eventually find something that works. And a big thank you to my mysterious little helper as well, who suggested the right thing at the right time and helped me find the solution to the problem. I will name drop them at some point in the future, and I'm sure you'll get to meet them in the future as well. But right now, let's talk about the solution to the problem. And how the frame rate is now a lot better. I was able to record this video at 1080p, 60 frames per second, at 30,000 kilobits per second, in fact 20,000 kilobits per second, and it worked beautifully. I managed to record 4 hours of footage without any issue whatsoever, and I was very, very happy about that. And even F1, I managed to record an entire race weekend, the Belgian Grand Prix in F1 2020, without a single frame being dropped. It was absolutely perfect. I've had some issues with Football Manager, with media encoding overload issues, which meant some frames were dropped, but unlike previously where it just hangs on a frame and then it starts playing again, now it kind of, I'm trying to think of a way of describing it, like it reduces the frame rate rather than stops it in completely. So instead of it being 60 FPS dropping to 0.44 and then back up to 60, it went from 60 down to like 45 and then back up to 60. So it's a little bit of a stutter. It's like when you trip and stumble and don't actually fall over, rather than when you completely stack it and fall flat on your face. So I'd like to think that's a better way of doing things. It's still not perfect. I'm still, as I say, tweaking with settings and trying to find something that works. But right now I'm pretty happy with the majority of how I've got this to work. I haven't yet tried it with streaming, so it might not work with streaming still. But I guess we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Mainly this Thursday when I do OpenTTD. But yeah, apart from that, very happy, very, very happy, and it's all working, and I'm very, very happy. And you know, if I say happy enough times, I might actually start to believe it. But no, seriously, I am very satisfied with the fact that it's starting to work now. And again, a big thanks to my helper for just suggesting the right thing at the right time and kind of making me do it and finding a solution. So this is the exit road. To get back on subject again, this is the exit road that you see me building here. It's elevated, as you can see. The supports that I'm using right now are not the ones I end up using in the end, because it doesn't really work that well. The entrance road is a little bit different. So the entrance road runs directly underneath the exit road, as you can see here, and I use two different each terminal has two different entrances. You've got the northbound entrance and you've got the southbound entrance. And as you'll see in just a second, one uses an underground road and the other one just goes along the ground. I really wish the really narrow streets there had an underground version. Maybe there's a mod that adds that, I don't know. But that would have been really handy. But yeah, this side here always goes down and underneath, which is also a nice problem that I had when it came time to build the underground railway. But it's not too much of an issue. And I don't like how some of these tunnels looked originally, so you do see me change them at some point. And yeah, it ends up looking fine, working fine. I'll need to find some roads as well. I might use the industrial roads, actually, inside the actual terminals. Again, we'll see. And you'll also notice that I add an extra turn lane where each terminal actually is. That's quite an important part of the design for me, actually, was having dedicated turn lanes where each road branches off. And again, it works out really, really well, and I was very, very happy with the result. It's one of these things where I really should have done this from the start. Like, common sense should have prevailed. When I built the first iteration, should you say, of the terminal, it never really crossed my mind that I should grade separate everything. I wanted to have traffic constantly crisscrossing each other and things like that, and it just doesn't function that well, to be honest. It's not the smart way of doing it. The smart way of doing it is like they do in real life. You know, you think about things like the Channel Tunnel, when you get on board the Euro Shuttle, why can't I speak suddenly? When you get on board the Le Shuttle service, you don't drive in and out of all the traffic that's just gotten off the train. You drive through your own little entrance road, and the other traffic that's just gotten off the train goes through its own dedicated exit road. They don't try and cram it all together and hope that, you know, there's no accidents or anything. And it makes sense. Obviously, there's border control and stuff as well, so that's part of the reason why they do it like that. But it's mainly to do with traffic flow. And that's what I needed to do. So we've got traffic can enter each hub from both sides, north and south. Traffic can only exit currently to the north. But again, next episode you'll see me build a way for traffic to then turn back south if necessary. And it's kind of designed so that if there's traffic coming in off the main highway, they can enter from the south side and travel up the road and go into each terminal. If they're coming from the city, they'll come in from the north side, which is the bigger entrance, because I'm mainly anticipating just motorway traffic from the south side going to the terminals. So to do that is quite easy. But from the city, they could be going to the industries, they could be going to the terminals, they could just be passing through on their way out of the city. You don't really know. So I tried to make it a little bit more flexible to come in from the north side. So you can completely bypass the terminal bit here if you want and use the main road on the other side of the railway. Or if you do want to go to a terminal, you can come down these roads here, use the dedicated turn lanes, go down into the tunnel, come back up into the right terminal and get straight on your ship. That's what the plan is. And again, I think it's quite a nice refined design. We do of course have the rail terminal down at the far end as well, underneath the big spirals that we've got. One of the reasons I wanted to keep the entrances and exits in place is because of those big spirals. I was a big fan of those. They do work very, very well. Obviously I don't want traffic queuing up on them too much, and I will be doing a little bit of grade separation again where the mining entrance is. I'll be changing that up a little bit to make that one more functional as well, because currently that one, as I said, isn't connected actually, so I need to connect it up and need to find a way to connect it up in a way that's quite efficient. The transitions between these sets of roads here do look a little bit weird right now, but once I use my good friend again, the node controller, it does end up looking a lot better. At this point I was trying to find a bridge support that I could use to make the exit road straddle the entrance road. I do find one in the end, which I was quite happy with, but at this moment in time it took me a long time and I was getting quite annoyed scrolling through all these different screens. It would be nice, because I put in bridge support as a search and I put in bridge pier and all sorts of things, and like pier you would expect like the ferry piers and stuff like that, so I wasn't too bothered by that. But when I put in bridge support and I was getting road types come up, it wasn't really what I was looking for. So I get that Find It just literally searches for what you type in, but it would have been nice to have an option to sort of not have roads be a result, for example. That would have been quite handy. But yeah, in the end I do find one. I'm trying out different variants here. The diagonal bridge support here is because I've got the roads underneath, and where the two roads meet on top, it tries to do it at an angle so that it doesn't get in the way of either of the approach roads. It's kind of hard to explain, but it makes sense when you see it in game. But yeah, as I said, I do eventually find the right support that I was looking for. Some of these look really nice and really ornate, but you can't get truck traffic going underneath it, unfortunately. And I think at this point I had it slightly too low as well, so I lifted the road up a little bit more. And yeah, it ends up working, so no problems here. And yeah, in just a second you'll see me find the right bridge pillar. That's the other thing I don't like about this menu actually, is the same things keep appearing like 3 or 4 times, and it's really frustrating. It should just appear once. But yeah, I was trying to find supports here that maybe went in the center of the road instead, the Shinkansen one there for example, but it's just a little too wide. Some of these other ones, I could have turned them 90 degrees and see if that perhaps worked, but in the end I just kept it simple and went with this rail above road pillar, and that's what we end up using. And as you can see, as soon as I upgrade the road, all of these bridge supports now appear, so you can see that it does indeed work. So very, very happy about that. And yeah, this is what I end up using for the remainder of the cargo terminal. Someone's drilling in the room next door to me as well. Apologies if you can hear that too. Alright, take 2 of recording this last bit here, because for some reason hell on earth decided to start drilling next door to my room and the whole wall was shaking, and like, I have a recording of it. I'll probably put it in at some point in the future so you guys can actually sit and listen to just how loud that was. It's one of those things that you just got to get on with it really. What I was talking about was my friend here, the node controller, just using it to finish off these little road transitions here, making it all look a little bit more neat and tidy, and I really love this mod, the way that it works with allowing traffic to flow a lot smoother around certain intersections and things like that. It's really, really cool. I wish I could remember who it was that created the mod now, because they are way more clever and smart and everything than I could possibly be. So yeah, download the mod if you don't have it already. It's a really good one to use, especially if you are someone who likes to make things look good and work like I am, it's an absolute game changer, to be honest. And maybe in the future I'll go back and tidy up some of these tunnels and bridges a little bit more as well, make them look a little bit neater and a little bit tidier. I'm not sure if node controller is something you can really use for that. I'm still a little bit annoyed that you can't use node controller for rail unless I am missing something, which knowing me I probably am. I tried to use it for some of the rail links in other parts of the city and couldn't find a way for it to work, which is a little bit frustrating. But maybe there'll be an add-on for that in the future. One of the great things about these mods is they're very easy to update as well, so that might be something that comes along in the future, in which case I will go back and redo most of this anyway to make it look a little bit nicer as well. Some of the rail junctions, especially in and around the cargo terminal, were a bit weird, like trains jumping up 20 foot in the air and things like that. So hopefully if I can find a way to avoid that in the future, that will be very beneficial indeed. Just finishing up this last little section here, making this little junction here work. Again, node controller, very handy for making this junction here look good. You see me rebuild it a couple of times and I suddenly realized, why am I doing this? I can just use node controller and actually tidy it up there and make it look a little bit nicer in that respect. So again, really helpful, because these days you only have to build something once with mods like that, and even things like the intersection marking tool. I'm already thinking of ways that I can use it whilst I'm building the roads. And then you use move it to kind of tidy up the road itself, and then you use node controller to tidy up the junction, and yeah, it just looks so cool when it's done. And even there, like using move it there just to move that little junction a little bit further over so that the bridge pillar doesn't get in the way. It's so nice. It's so nice. And I feel so much more relaxed doing these projects now, knowing that I could just twiddle things here and there and, you know, move it an inch to the right, whatever it might be, to make it work. It kind of makes it easier to be creative, basically, when you're working with things like this. Although I do still rebuild this little bit here one more time, and then I make the tunnel exit, and then we are complete. There we go. Build this bit up. And a key as well, making sure that that all works. So nice. And then node controller. Again, I'll name drop node controller several times throughout this build, I'm sure, because it's so handy. Oh, there was a bit where I was talking to my little helper in the background whilst I was just finishing that bit off. Also, the fact you can turn off flat junctions as well for node controller, that's also very helpful, because you can make these junctions look a little bit more realistic. I do reduce the smoothness a little bit here to try and get rid of that grass bit that was sort of impeding on the road. But there we go, we're done. So you can kind of see the ideology behind how these junctions work now. But yeah, it's all looking good. I'm very happy. And that pretty much does it for this episode, guys. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and of course if you're enjoying the series. Drop some comments down below with ideas for future episodes. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. If you have already subscribed to the channel, thank you guys for your continued support. And until next time, when the project continues, I will see you soon.